This segment brought to you in association with Burger King.
Sports time now, and we join Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, Virat Kohli giving our boys a tough time in Jamaica.
Well, yes, but they're trying to hold their own. Seriously, Lisa, they're trying. Now, the West Indies captain Jason Holder, he captured 3 of the Indian wickets to fall on day 1 of the second test at the Sabina Park in Jamaica, as the visitors at stumps were 264 for 5. Captain Virat Kohli led the batter with 76, followed by 55 from Mayank Agarwal. Holder has so far taken 3 for 39, while Kemar Roach and debutant Rakeem Cornwall have 1 wicket apiece. Now, day 2 bowls off around 10:30 a.m. Barbados time with live coverage on Radio 94.7 FM. Well, Conde Riley is the president of the Barbados Cricket Association for another term. The incumbent easily dismissed a challenge from former President Joe Garner, 198 votes to 112 at the 17th annual special meeting at Kensington Oval last night. Mr. Riley says his #1 priority is to generally fix the Windies' on-field cricketing problems by first specifically building a new indoor training facility.
We will build out the Armstrong building into an indoor facility, a state-of-the-art facility. It also now allows us, and if the rain is falling and so on, we will be able to still have the guys training within the indoor facility. That facility was built off design from Loughborough University, and I know what they have. John Shepard, from Barbados, and Kent, I think it was paid for, sent me a paper the other day in terms of how to make this indoor facility a facility for the 21st century. So we have people who play for Barbados and North England and so on that have the ability. And in fact, I think he was the chairman of Kent at some time. So they have contacts and so on. And I'm going to draw on those resources to make sure that Barbados plays an important part in rebuilding Cricket West Indies senior team.
All the incumbent nominees were re-elected. Secretary Gregory Nichols total 195 votes, Tamanda Reefers 53 and Anthea Ishmael's 44. The 3 returned directors are Winston Stafford, he had 146 votes, Timothy Boyce with 119 and Roland Butcher with 115. They defeated challenges from Errol Barrow, Calvin Watson, Amanda Reefer, Hartley Reid, Anthea Ishmael, Pedro Graves, Anthony DePisa and Jeff Brooms. Riley says the election results show that the membership approved what the board has been doing.
That means that the membership believes that over the last 2 years, not me, my board worked hard. We settled 2 outstanding matters that were the subject of qualified opinions from our auditors. We settled that. We settled another matter to do with the lottery people through a global settlement.
All the elected officers will serve the BCA for 2 years. Well, the Barbados senior squash team is back home from what was a decent showing at the Caribbean Squash Area Association Championships in Guyana. Actually, when the CBC team visited the squash center at Marine Gardens, they're already back on court, ensuring that their skills are being kept sharp. The veterans team of Mark Seeley, Mark Jost and Karen Meekins won their games to secure the 4-1 team win over host Guyana. Seeley said despite challenging conditions, he was pleased with the team's overall showing.
It's very difficult to prepare yourself for Guyana because even on the hot court here at 12 o'clock, it is brutally hot here. But when you go to Guyana, it is just unbelievable. You know, the humidity is much greater there, and what happens is, you know, your breathing is not as good over there. You just can't get the oxygen that you do get here. So it is difficult to prepare for that, but I found that all of our players really put their best foot forward and really, you know, fought through some of the very tough games. You know, even if they were tired, they didn't give up. You know, they really fought through. So I was incredibly pleased with that.
It was only last month when Megan Best tasted success in the Junior Caribbean Championships, and she was more than pleased to make the women's singles final at the senior level. Despite losing, she was very proud of her performance.
The seniors was a bit tougher. Yeah, I played Nicolette in the final. She's a former top 20 in the world, so that was very tough, but I enjoyed it. I loved being on court with her, and I hope to take away as many tips from her as possible. I grew up watching her, so it was like a dream come true being on court with her. But yeah, overall, I think it was a great tournament. The girls played well. We had all teenagers on our team in a senior tournament, so that's just outstanding that we even came second, you know, and we lost 3-2 in the finals to Guyana, having Nicolette on that team as well. So yeah, I'm very happy with how we performed, and you know, we'll be training harder to come back and win in Jamaica next year.
Also on the team was reigning national men's champion Sean Simpson. Although he was not among the medalists this time around, he is already looking to get himself ready for next year. Actually, Simpson also plays volleyball at the national level, and he's looking to combine training of both sports to be at his peak.
Why we'll use the volleyball, which starts next week, is just a combination of my own stuff on court for squash. I find it kind of complements my skill sets on the squash courts, because with volleyball it's a very core-based sport, having to jump all the time and so forth, and that kind of translates onto the squash court. So why we'll be using that along with my preparation off court for squash, to just prepare for next year.
If the sport of boxing is to be restored to its glory days, there is the need for boxing to have a proper home. This is the view of Vice President of the local Boxing Association, Kathy Harper Hall, as she spoke to CBC Sports in a wide-ranging interview.
I think our major problem is lack of facilities. Boxing has no real facility, no training. We have a room at the stadium that I call it a storeroom. It's just about the size of a storeroom. And you cannot have more than 2 or 3 boxers in there at any one time, because you can't put up more than maybe 2 punch bags. You know, it is so small. We do put a ring in there, but once you put the ring takes up the rest of all of the space. So there is not, we cannot expand, because we have no place to put numbers. We have a number of gyms springing up across Barbados, but then again, their facilities, they are in a room somewhere where they're still very, very limited too. Some of them operate in the pavilions at the playing fields and so on. But the fact that the home that boxing had, where we had a home at Reed Street, and boxing had a home, and it was our home, and we could do what we wanted to do with it and fix how we wanted it, and we had space and so on. From the time that was taken from us, that was 25 years ago, and we were promised 25 years ago that it was a temporary arrangement and that we would get, and 25 years we're still temporary. But I am still hopeful, maybe not in my lifetime, but at some point that boxing, with some kind of provision will be made for boxing to have a place where they can put a boxing ring, put up the boxing equipment back up. You can't move boxing equipment about. Boxing equipment has to be put there and stay there. So, you know, I am hoping that at some point in time something will happen for the sport.